Hello everyone, Paper Spock here, and for something a little bit different, I am going to do the tier list maker for the blueprints for the common and standard rooms. So this will hopefully be spoiler light for people who have not played the game much, because it's going to not have the rare and uncommon rooms, and those are often some of the more interesting ones and some of the ones you won't see for a while. And I think this also does not have any of the rooms you have to unlock. So these will be the rooms that you would probably see during your first few playthroughs. So I'm going to keep the tiers for now as listed. Let's go through it. So um, the aquarium is an interesting one to start with because it's kind of a weird room, but um, I like that it has three entrances. That's pretty good. It doesn't have a lot going on, but you can get any bonus from any room applied to it because it's every room color, so that's pretty good. I'll have to see kind of where it shakes out relative to other things, but right now I'm kind of between A and B tier. It's not so good for resources, but you can combo it into some things pretty well. So I'm gonna start out with it at B tier. See if I kind of shift that around later. Bedroom. So looking closely, bedroom is the one that gives you two steps when you walk through it. It has two entrances, and it's kind of one of the ones where it's a turn. There's one at the bottom, an entrance at the bottom, and then one at the left. So I'm going to put this at C tier. It's good for bedroom combo purposes, but like, hopefully I'm not walking back and forth between this one patch a whole ton. I think if it had three entrances, it would make it a lot more interesting. Billiards room, I love the billiards math. It makes me feel smart. And I say that even though I'm like on day 80 something now, and I was like, wow, I didn't know I could do mental math as well, even the things it throws at you. And I know there's harder mental math that I'm not as good at, but it makes me feel smart. You usually get keys out of it, and you need keys. You really, like, if you're out of keys, it's just game over for you. You got to start over. So I really like that. Uh, the boudoir, I think is how it's pronounced. Please don't kill me if I've said that wrong. But where do I want to put that? I have an upgraded version of the boudoir, which makes it a bit better. But it's just kind of a another walk-through bedroom. There are some secrets in it that can get you resources, and it often does have resources sitting around, so not too bad. But I'd probably place it back with the C tier. Chapel is probably one of my favorite of the red rooms because early on in the game, if you place it early, which you often will, you're going to get some. Uh, you get three entrances. I mean, probably we want the aquarium to go up because the aquarium is strictly better in all ways because it's the same entrances. But it's easy to get early on, and if you get it early on before you've got any money, then it's just free. You just get to go through it. You get to use it and gather some resources and keep most of them if you place it strategically early on in kind of a wing on its own that you're using to just kind of get resources. Closet, two items. We like items, we don't like dead ends. But resources are. This is really what we're trying to branch out early on to get. We're trying to get a closet so we can get some items going for us. I would probably put it on. Yeah, I'd say it's on par with the chapel because it's horrible in terms of entrances, but it's good in terms of items. Not great, but good. Mm. Coat check S tier, easy. Because anytime you get a really good item that's hard to get, you can use it on multiple runs if you get the coat check. And there's many items you're going to want to do that with. So like, as good as your best item is, that's how good this can be if you get your item into the coat check. Commissary, I'd say probably A tier. Um, I'd say it gets better the later you get into the game because there are certain things that make resources easier to come by, and so you have more money so you can spend more on it. But even when you don't, like, a place where you can take your resources, leverage them, that's good. Corridor, I kind of like straight passageways, and I do like that it's always open. I don't leverage it that often, but it is good to have it always open. So we're gonna go ahead and put it in B tier. I might even put it in C tier, but it's like either high C tier, low B tier. And I'm not necessarily going to rank these in order from left to right, but we'll put it B tier for now. Courtyard. This is one of the ones where I've upgraded it in a way that it's hard for me to remember the original courtyard, but it is 2 entrances, and it's 3 entrances. You usually get some item, so that's good, but it does cost gems. And I mean, a lot of these, I may have commissary cost gems, and I forgot to mention that. I think the aquarium does too. That probably puts the aquarium down a little. You know what? I'm going to move the aquarium to B tier now that I've remembered that. But the courtyard, eh, yeah. I mean, it's more expensive than the aquarium. think I think it's 2 gems. May just be 1 gem. It's probably about on par. We'll put it in this patch right here. Dark room. Dark room is scary. We're gonna put it in C tier because oftentimes, if you don't have ways to mitigate the dark room, you're just left drafting blind, and you don't want to be in a situation where you're drafting blind because, like, best case scenario, you're kind of going off into a corner and trying to get some resources on just kind of a branch to the side. And I don't like having to do that blind because I might end up burning a room that would be more useful elsewhere. Like best case scenario, you get a dead end that gives you resources. Or if you're kind of doing it off in kind of resource gathering way. If you're doing it on a progression path, it is so scary because it's just a roll of the dice as to whether or not you get to progress because you might draft something that is either a dead end or functionally a dead end. So now we're gonna the den. The den is A tier at least. The den gives you a gem. You need gems. It comes in early. It's an early gem for you. I'm not really rating the atmosphere of these various places mostly, but it has amazing atmosphere. It has the same entrances as the aquarium, but it has a guaranteed gem. That's pretty cool. And it doesn't cost anything to get into. So I mean, we'll think about this. It could end up going maybe as high as S tier if I think about it some. Dining room, I am going to say is S tier. It doesn't cost gems. 3 entrances is nice. And it has been a lifesaver for me frequently when I'm running out of steps. Like, if I'm running out of steps, it gives my run new life in a way that other rooms don't really. So I'm a huge fan of that. Dining room, amazing. We love it. We're gonna put it S tier. Drawing room. Drawing room costs 1 gem, but lets you reroll. I'd say it has to be at least A tier. I sometimes get nervous when there's only one reroll though, because I'm like, what if I get worse options? If I have several rerolls, I'm like, well, if I get worse options, then I can just reroll again. But like, the drawing room makes it a little bit scarier, and it does cost 1 gem. There are some resources you can get from it in some circumstances, which make it a little bit better, but probably not S tier better. East Wing Hall, it's got 3 entrances. That's good, and it's free, but it has no resources, so it's similar to the aquarium is probably a little better now that I think about it, but it's just it's good with its 3 entrances. I like that. The greenhouse now. Okay, we're gonna zoom in quick on the greenhouse if we can. Uh, whoa, that ads banner is horrible. Greenhouse, you are more likely to draw green rooms while drafting. Okay, okay. Now I know what it was at. What was my zoom level for? I don't remember. So, I think this is about as good. I guess we can roll with this zoom level. I really wish I knew how to zoom before. I should have remembered. Because maybe zoomed out one level. Let's do this for consistency. In the guest bedroom, you step into it, get 10 steps, but it's a dead end. It has, though, saved me sometimes. Like, it makes a corner pay for itself, but like in terms of steps. Like, if you're making kind of a corner you're expecting to dead end out to gather resources, this is a way to recoup most of your steps from it. So I'm probably going to put it similarly here. We don't have many bedrooms I'm liking a lot so far, but hopefully that's different. Oh, the greenhouse is the whole reason I zoomed in. For some reason, I did the guest bedroom instead. Okay, greenhouse. Um, you are more likely to draw green rooms after drafting. So, I mean, it's entirely synergistic, and I'm not big about the green room synergy usually, so I wouldn't say it's D tier, but I would say it's C tier probably. And kind of like one of the lower C tiers. Gymnasium, lose 2 steps additionally every time you go through it, but it's got 4 doors, and 4 doors are really good. So probably, not sure it's A tier. It's definitely at least B tier. It's probably A tier. Like if you're really low on steps, Okay, hallway is just East Wing Hall Part 2, except it can come up anywhere. So like East Wing Hall can be good if you've used up your hallway. You're exploring the East Wing, I guess. But all in all, it's very similar. Kitchen, another thing that sometimes saves me, but I feel like it's A or B tier. I guess A tier. Laboratory. I love experiments. I love running experiments. They can have lots of interesting effects. So I'm probably gonna put it high A tier because not that like it's got funny entrances. It's not as good as security. When we get to security, I love security. It is just so pivotal. But this pretty good. Pretty good. Experiments are pretty good. Lavatory is D tier. It is a dead end that does nothing for you. It is sad. Nook. Nook is one entrance, one exit, gives you one key. Kind of awkward sometimes when there's kind of the turn in it, but I'm going to put it in B tier. Those keys are very important. A nursery is probably the best bedroom we've seen so far, because when you draft a bedroom, you get +5 steps. So that makes all of these better. By themselves, they aren't good. They trying to decide if retroactively the nursery means I should move some up, and I don't think it does. I don't think it does, but I'd say nursery gets A tier. I see nursery if I can take it, if I have a place to put a dead end and it comes up, I like taking it a lot. Observatory. Observatory is tricky because it changes, but I'm going to put it S tier because, as you know, you get different bonuses as you get more and more stars, but the more stars you get, the better it gets. And by now, I'm into the post game, and it's just very helpful. And I'd say even early game, you get some little nice bonus. Is it always worth a gem? Early game? I mean, not for that run, but for future runs, probably. So if you can spare it, I'd say it's usually good. Office? Office was kind of one of the more interesting rooms in this list in terms of things you might discover. But I'd say uses. I haven't figured out a good way to leverage it. C tier. I mean, it's a computer, so there's that. But other than that, I mean, spreading the money. I don't really like spreading money around the estate because you have to run around and get it. You're using up steps. I'm very good at missing things, so it's not the most appealing. Pantry is +4 gold, but on top of the +4 gold, there's always a fruit of some kind. So you get some steps back when you go through it. And that alone, I would say, pushes it up to at least B tier. Probably low B tier, though. It's like the Nook. And the 4 money, the 4 gold, 4 coins, whatever our currency is. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Okay, so gems. You live and die by gems. Parlor's a great way to get gems. So I don't like it as much as the billiard room, though, so I'm going to put it high B tier. And it does have 2 entrances. We haven't talked about entrances so much recently, but I think I'm going to leave it at that for the parlor, because it's one of the reasons I like the billiards room more is I feel like it goes faster on average. Parlor, though, I take more often because gems are more consistently useful for me. I'm a little split. I'm a little split on parlor versus billiards, but I think that it's generally a bit more fun. Oh, I mean, the resources are more useful than the billiards room, I guess, for me on average. And you need keys, and billiards room gets you keys, and sometimes it gets you really good keys. I think maybe billiards room. I'm just kind of arbitrarily shifting them to the right. Like I'm not sure I'm going to do a final sort where I rank these left to right from best to worst, but generally, if I'm placing it in, that's kind of what I'm thinking. Passageway. Can't remember if it's 2 gems or 3 gems. I think it's 3 gems, but 3 gems for 4 entrances. That is quite a cost. That is quite a cost. But 4 entrances is so powerful, I hesitate to put it C tier. Probably low B tier is fair because it is worthwhile to have a bunch of entrances when you can. It's just tricky to. Patio is spreading gems to green rooms. I'm just not a big fan of green rooms, as I said earlier, but they do. This is a great way they synergize together, but often my green rooms aren't together. I don't like spread rooms that well. I think I've got to put it C tier. Rumpus room. So this is 8 gold. Does cost 1 gem, if I remember right. I'm having to try to remember these gem costs on these, and it's not always going great. So 8 gold for 1 gem isn't the best, but if you've been to it, you know it has kind of a cool feature that I'd say enhances my experience of the game overall and gives useful information. So for that reason alone, I think it goes up to B tier. If it was just the money for the gold, though, it's not the best, but I'd say probably, again, lowish B tier. Security is S tier. Um, it hurts. It hurts when I go and use security to check the inventory, which is the main thing listed in its description, is use the computer to check the estate's inventory, and I find out all the items I've missed, and like I've said, I am not good searching for items in obscure places, so usually it means that the game is basically taunting me in my mind. But the other feature, the keycard security levels. So good, so good. If you don't have a keycard, then you can go ahead and make keycards uncommon. A keycard reader's door is uncommon to run into. If you do have it, you can make them very common, and then you're using less regular keys. Uh, and in any case, you can just set it so that if you kill the power, then you can get in. And that's awesome. That's awesome. The environment in this room is very effective. You're seeing all these security monitors. Feels like a security room. Some interesting things going on with the boards, the cork boards that have information pinned to them in this room. You can learn a thing or two. You sometimes get some good items lying around. I've seen a key card in this room before, and so knowing that's possible, that's awesome. Spare room is by itself. It's got to be like 2 entrances, no effect. Probably a bit mean to call it D tier, but with it's probably low C tier, high D tier. But I'm going to put in D tier to kind of fill it out. However, I do know upgrades exist, and when you bring upgrades into the picture, it becomes a lot more interesting. But I'm kind of trying to keep it to the base set of rooms as they are when you get them the best I can. So in terms of that, quite good. Storeroom, it is my. I don't believe it costs a gem. I believe it's free. And it's great early to get a start on resources. It's one of the rooms I'm looking when I'm kind of building out into my resource corner I've talked about. There's other more impactful rooms, but I guess I'm going to stick it in just about here. Again, I'm eyeballing it. East Wing Hall, I mean, West Wing Hall is just East Wing, except when I drafted, I think, of the West Wing TV show and the theme to that show, so. So it gets a little bit of a bonus there. I'm going to put it at the top of the pack a bit of these three essentially identical rooms. Okay, now we have terrace. Let's see if I can read this. Uh, Green rooms do not cost gems to draft. That's probably the best route one. If I get it, then I'm interested in drafting green rooms now. Um, it's a dead end though. If it wasn't a dead end, I'd probably put it higher, but I'd say it's better than the courtyard because it incentivizes green rooms and lets the synergies work in cool ways. Walk-in closet is like the storeroom, except you get 4 items, and they're like usually items that do things rather than just kind of your basic resources. So I'd say that's a little bit better. Utility closet, I almost want to put it in S tier up with security, but at the same time, I don't know that I agree with that. I don't know that it belongs up there because it is a dead end, and if you don't have any other rooms to synergize with it, it doesn't do anything on its own, whereas the other rooms do. The other rooms definitely do. So it's just, it does nothing by itself, and that's kind of a problem for me putting it any higher than A tier. Especially with it being a dead end. It arguably could be B tier, but I'm going to put it A tier because it can be very, very powerful. And finally, the pool. The pool adds the sauna, your drafting pool, as well as I think the pump room. Don't want to zoom in again and verify that, but sauna, I see how it's powerful, but I'm usually focused on the days run I'm working on. I mean, it's good if you have a really bad run that you want to kind of wind down. You can use that as an out to say, well, at least I'm going to have a better day tomorrow because I've set myself up. But a pump room, though, it's an interesting room. And again, I don't want to get into any rooms not on this list, so I'm going to leave the pool as it is. And it's got 3 entrances. I think it costs 1 gem. So it's kind of like these, but with an extra effect. And there's also some other opportunities once you get deeper into the game with a pool. So yeah, I think we've got to put it in B tier if we're going to be consistent with the shape of the room and the fact that its effects. I guess I'm weighing its effects versus the fact that it has a cost against these hallways, and I think it comes out on top. Yeah, I'd say it's better than an aquarium. Or is it? I think I probably would prefer to see an aquarium usually, unless I'm specifically looking for a sauna or a pump room. So this is the tier list of common and standard rooms, and I think I like this. I think I like this kind of off the cuff. I definitely think if I thought longer about it, I would shift things around a little. I might kick something up to S tier, push some more things down to D tier. Let's see, let's look at our C's. Lavatory is probably the only room I would be ever mad to get because there's usually a trade-off between limited options and resources. If you're going to have something that limits your options, then at least you get some resources out of it, but that's not true of Lavatory. At least with Spare Room, it does continue things forward for you. I'd arguably even put it in C tier, but low C tier. And I think we need another D tier down with Lavatory, so I think it's fair to put it there. So I don't is Coat Check the best room? I think I probably either would want if I was to reorder these, I'd probably put security up front and dining room. And yeah, Code Check is really powerful. It just is a matter of I think security is a bit more versatile. Because Code Check can only store 1 item, but I think that storing that 1 item is just so good. I could be here like for a lot longer adjusting these, but I think I feel pretty good about my feelings towards these various rooms. Just kind of generally weighing out their various effects. So I hope you enjoyed this. you liked this, then I'll probably, if people seem to like this, is what I mean to say, I will probably go back and do the full list of all the rooms at some point in the future. But I thought, a lot of the people I know haven't seen all the rooms yet, so I'd just start out with something kind of basic and and just do the common and standard rooms so that there wouldn't really be spoilers for people to a significant extent. And I have tried to maintain that through this, where I've like alluded to certain things that you might know if you've gotten later into the game in terms of things that might be nudging me one way or the other, but not like gotten deep into them. So I thank you for joining me today and looking at all this, and I hope that you liked this. And maybe I'll do another one. We'll see. Have a good day.